So it's the first comments below little session with Jack Clarke. Thank you for coming to join us in the race room.
No problem.
We've just watched the German Grand Prix out at the Nurburgring. Sebastian Vettel taking his first victory at home.
Yeah, that's right. He was. It's his first victory in Europe since 2011, which is an interesting fact.
That's a good little stat for you then.
It is, yes, in his first home Grand Prix victory. So he'll be very happy. And amongst all of that drama,
we had lots of drama. We had, well, Syed Sami has commented in. Thank you for your comment, saying Massa for the win. First drama was Massa crashing out. That wasn't so good.
It didn't happen, did it, for Syed Sami, I'm afraid?
No, sorry about that one. And then we had Jules Bianchi's car reversing on its own down the track.
Yes, it just shows Nurburgring, actually, the TV doesn't do it justice. It just shows how much undulations there are at the track.
Absolutely, and that tractor just waiting for it to pick up the car. And then we had Hamilton. Patrick Kujawa has commented in saying Hamilton for the win, but again, that didn't really happen, did it?
No, a disappointing one for Mercedes.
He had a terrible start. He just kind of got eaten up by the Red Bulls.
He got a bad start, and also those tyres, going back to the Kevlars, Pirelli have changed their game a little bit after Silverstone, and it's made life very difficult for Hamilton and Rosberg.
And talking of tyres, there was that terrible moment in the race when Mark Webber's tyre came flying off in the pit lane just after he'd pitted. And obviously, we've heard that the cameraman is okay. He's sitting up and conscious in hospital, but hopefully, fingers crossed, he'll be back to work very, very soon. So, we've spoken about tyres. Let's have a look. We've got lots of comments coming in. We've got Loops Games 4, who's commented in saying, what do you think Pirelli, that's obviously the tyre manufacturer, will do if there are more blowouts? Well, we were lucky today, there weren't any more blowouts.
Yeah, I think Pirelli have actually addressed the issue from Silverstone. And going back to the Kevlar tyres, they've obviously done something right, but for a lot of the teams, certainly Mercedes, is not the best option. Yeah.
They are struggling with them, absolutely. Whereas people like Lotus, they're doing pretty well with those tyres, and Ferrari kind of making the best of them, I suppose, doing as much as they can.
Yeah, I think the strategy for Ferrari was what really got them through the race today, and Alonso obviously will be happy with fourth. And
we got Hungry Bear, who's actually commented back on that Loops Games 4 comment, saying nothing. So Pirelli won't do anything more if there are blowouts. Nothing because they didn't cause any issues at Silverstone. The teams did.
I think it's a combined effort, really. I can understand what Hungry Bear's talking about, but it's a combination. It's a combination of those tyres being too soft, not being able to run low enough, and obviously the curbs and the drivers
and the switching, which obviously has now been put into proper rules and regulations from Pirelli, giving them to the teams. Then we've got something else. Here we go. So Co-Carrick saying, do you think Mercedes will be dropping with the new tyres? Well, we just said that obviously they are not dealing with the new tyres so well. And finally, Run Forth Ian Dead saying, will Pirelli be sacked? Now, obviously, it's probably not a case of sacked. It's more an issue of whether the contract will be renewed. What do you reckon?
There's been a lot demanded of Pirelli. They obviously want to sell tyres ultimately, and it's not been the best advert for them. So I think there's a little bit of loyalty owed to Pirelli, and I really do hope that they don't get sacked.
And obviously they were requested by Formula One to create a bit more excitement in the races by making these tyres that degrade a little bit quicker. So they're only really doing what they were asked to in the first place. And then, unfortunately, we've already heard that Bridgestone have ruled out a comeback coming into Formula One. And then we heard the race chief from Michelin, Pascal Coisson, saying that they wouldn't rule out a comeback to F1. So who knows? It's between Michelin and Pirelli. Who knows whether they'll come back in.
There's certainly competition there, and there always will be. It's Formula One, it's the pinnacle of motorsport.
Exactly, and that's why we watch it. So we got lots of comments about drivers. And of course, at Silverstone, we heard the announcement that Mark Webber is going to be leaving Formula One at the end of this year, leaving Red Bull, freeing up a seat for a teammate for Vettel. So we've got Run Forth Ian Dead, again, very vocal you are, that's great, we like that. Raikkonen or Ricciardo or De Resta or Verne for Webber's seat. What do you reckon?
Well, I don't know. I think it kind of poo-poos the Toro Rosso setup if Ricciardo or Verne don't get that seat.
Exactly, they are the junior team essentially, aren't they?
Exactly, so all of that development work for them is going to go to waste effectively, because Raikkonen, if he were to come in, and I suspect that he might do.
That is the talk in the paddock at the moment, isn't it? And
it's
even, I mean, we just saw on the podium, Sebastian Vettel being asked, what did he think about the guy standing next to him, Raikkonen, joining him as a teammate? It's kind of, woof.
I think
that's what everyone's saying.
That was a bean-spilling scenario.
That was a punchy question. De Resta, though, that's we've had another comment about De Resta's future from Corsican01 saying Paul De Resta to Ferrari in 2014. So is De Resta going to Ferrari? Is he going to go to Red Bull? We haven't actually heard about that movement to Ferrari.
No, it's not something I've heard as well.
Maybe we can go into the paddock and investigate for you, Corsican 01. But yeah, so who do you reckon? Who will fill Webber's seat?
I think for Webber's seat, I think it's going to be Raikkonen. I think from what I've heard, there's a lot of people that say it's a dead cert. It's obviously not going to be officially announced for a while. Just quickly on the Paul di Resta to Ferrari, I think it's a good idea, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Do you think, I've heard di Resta maybe moving to fill Raikkonen's slot, so there's going to be even more kind of...
Well, as soon as Raikkonen moves, it's going to be silly season. It's going to be musical chairs in the paddock, and I think...
like football.
Exactly. I'd like to see Hülkenberg in the Ferrari seat if Massa goes.
Oh, interesting shout. You heard it here first. Okay, Hülkenberg, very interesting. And then, again, what are your moves on Mark Webber's move to... What are your thoughts even on Mark Webber's move to Porsche? What do you think? Is that a good thing? I think it might raise the game all around in motorsport.
I think, yeah, it's a great thing. Certainly for Mark Webber, it's a great place to effectively begin to retire. I mean, to come out of Formula One, to go to sports car racing, I mean, the cars are quite similar, in fact. I mean, the downforce levels are relatively similar. So it'll be very interesting to watch. You know, the disciplines do cross over a little bit. It's like a sprinter becoming a marathon runner, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, I spoke to Ollie Gavin while we were at Silverstone, and he had this to say about Mark Webber's move.
Mark is a fantastic driver. He is really been seen as one of the top drivers in Formula One for many years, and you know, now for him to move over to the Porsche LMP1 factory program, I think is really quite something. It's going to give the sports car world a bit of a lift. You know, it's going to be great having as big a star as him coming in, and you know, for the Porsche factory program, I think it's quite a scoop. You know, that they've managed to get such a big name.
So Mark Webber's going to be the star with the Porsche boys, I think. That's what Ollie Gavin's kind of saying. So we're moving on to some different questions. I'm guessing this is for me, obviously, from Mr. Swift Apex. How old were you when you started racing? I'm 15. Do I still stand a chance? Well, obviously, no guesses. I'm not a racing driver. Jack, when did you start?
I started when I was 10, Mr. Swift Tape X. And I don't think it's too late. I think
lots of time.
You've got plenty of time. You've got to have the attitude that anything is possible if you want to be a racing driver. So,
and what do you say the routine? Is it karting? Do we need to start thinking about that?
Get your learn your trade in karting. Do a bit of learn some racecraft, and then you want to start looking towards cars. But you need a bit of backing. You need a bit of sponsorship.
Exactly. So get hunting for your sponsorship first, probably. Then we got one from T55 Storm. What about boys who need to watch it on the BBC? So I'm guessing this was referring to the fact that F1 is now shown, all races is shown on Sky Sports and only 9 races on the BBC. I mean, yeah, it does make it difficult if you don't have the Sky Sports package, but it is actually saving, I was doing a bit of research on this, it's saving the licence payer, the TV licence payer, quite a lot of money, actually £150 million, because obviously they're not now having to shell out the cash that Sky Sports are, which is £25 million a year.
Right, I'm assuming you don't mean per person.
No, exactly, not per person. We'd all be rich if that was the case. So yeah, it's a shame, but there's always the highlights afterwards on the BBC that you can catch. And finally, this is one of our favourite comments. Thank you very much to Spicy Chicken, with lots of 1s and 3s thrown in there. Jack, would you fight 100 ducks or 1 horse-sized duck?
That's a no-brainer. I've got to go for the 1 horse-sized duck.
Oh, damn, I was going to try to fight you on this one. I'm going to go 1 horse-sized duck as well. Otherwise, you don't know where they could be coming at all angles.
I know, I don't like that thought.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
Right, between now and Budapest, we're going to try and work out whether you take down 1 horse-sized duck or 100 ducks. And of course, we will be back on the weekend of Budapest, right here on the sofa to answer all your comments. So make sure you comment lots between now and then.